challenge. What I will say though, Ace, is after watching MIBR earlier, they look very dangerous. They looked absolutely on their game. They were giving away a few early picks at times, but they were managing. I think they won multiple 3v5s on Villa and 2v5s, and that's what you want to see out of a team. Not just playing well, but even those rounds that aren't going so well, being able to find a way to win them.
Oh, that's how you win tournaments. No two ways about it. Like you say, it's all well and good winning the rounds where you're on top, but it's when you can find a way from behind. That's when you really make a championship team. But Flores is going to be our second ban. Talk to me, Fresh. That's an interesting one here on Oregon.
It's not one that you potentially will usually see on Oregon, and that's, you say, interesting. It's potentially to do with that blue bunker 90 on the basement, because Flores can be deadly at getting rid of the shield, getting rid of the ADSs, getting rid of any barbed wire that you're looking in towards the blue bunker. The same even if you go into Kid Storms, there's usually a shield setup that faces the trophy side. There's usually some stuff in attic and lower attic that you want to clear. And Flores, he's just all around a great operator to get rid of utility, particularly when teams are going to sit behind shields with multiple ADSs, etc. So it's not one that we conventionally see, but it is one that I like if there's a specific plan from Black Dragons behind it.
Alrighty then, let's get into things here. We're going to be heading into round number 1. It's going to be Oregon. It's Black Dragons versus Fenix. It is Brazil versus Mexico here for that final spot against MIBR. And it will be the winner who stays in Sweden to compete in the 6th Invitational 2022. So this is a huge game for both of these teams, especially a team like Black Dragons languishing a little bit through the stages, Fresh, struggling in the BR6. All of a sudden, an opportunity to get onto the bigger stage. And a similar story for Fenix in some ways. You know, they won stage 1, but then they've been behind the now Akave roster in stage 2 and 3, sort of always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Maybe, you know, this is their opportunity to push forward and say, we're the #1 Mexican team. We can go up toe-to-toe with MIBR.
Yeah, and what I will say about Fenix is obviously you'll see the 3 players in their lineup with .FNX at the end, and the little smiley face as well. You don't normally see that out of teams in the usernames. Toxi and Luxor are new additions to this roster because Bob and Ghana have left. Luxor was previously on this roster, so he will be familiar to the players. However, he left the team and he is now back on the team. I don't know if it's just for this event or not. So there's been a little bit of turbulence, and that's what we're talking about when we're saying about changes within the roster.
Right, we're into the action phase then. 15 seconds gone, and Black Dragon's already in the building here, Fresh. Nice and aggressive Ion. He's got the drones going out ahead of him. He's actually drawn in for himself at the minute, which is just going to slow down his reaction a little bit to information that he might find, but not the end of the world. They're just not playing it too aggressively. Nice and cautious. Spots a man out on the rear stage. Now then, Toski, I don't think, has any idea that drone has just spotted him out, so we'll see how the Malusi does. I've got a feeling that Toski might just choose to dip underneath and maybe try and rotate through that basement if he's smart here.
Yeah, and we're seeing a classic West main push coming out of BD, although Perez is waiting for Toski to rotate down. He knows. So if a drone potentially spots Toski out, and that's all you would need for Toski to know he's been droned, he potentially looks to rotate down. As we see live, he's potentially going to send that drone and see if he can find Toski. Perez, he's just on the way. What I was about to say is we've got a classic West main attack coming out of BD. They want to get underneath, get the nades and come big window. Here comes that rotate, and the kill doesn't come out of Perez. Toski actually realizes, I don't know if he heard a sound, I don't know if he just thought better of it, and he's potentially going to get himself stuck in T2 here. Potentially, he might even look to rotate out of T2 across that highway, Ace. I know it's a little bit unconventional, but considering the attacks of West main coming out, that rotate would currently be a safe one.
That's it. Sometimes you've just got to take the risk and get yourself over there. But it was interesting from Toski, as you say, great reactions to be able to dip away from that fight. Just maybe heard a rustle, maybe heard a movement of some clothing or something. But Perez, one way or another, doesn't get Toski, but will get morphed with a headshot to kick things off. And Baseto somehow has got himself in through that double window. We see a man down in sight and kills start to rain in. Pappy does get Baseto, but not before the diffuser is planted. 4v1, it's all up to that lone Malusi. Shut down at the bottom of White Stairs by Live on the window. And that's going to be round number 1 going to Black Dragons. It was a flash in a pan, really, in the middle of the round there. It all happened within about 5 seconds. It was a great performance from the Brazilians, and they've just put down a marker.
The West main attack involves clearing out, obviously, kind of the west side of the Oregon building, and you're looking for control over dining, kitchen, and the kind of Zulu hallway, so that you can do just what the Habana did there, just what Baseto did there, jump in the double window, get the plant down, with one person, which was Perez in this case, poking the back of the attack so that you're shooting people in the back. Perez got an absolute freebie coming through the trophy side there. Overall, great attack by BD, and it's a nice round to get yourself started on Oregon.
Certainly was, and interesting to see Perez. The movement that he had, went underneath, popped up. He took that opening fight with Toski, but didn't get the kill. But it just shows you don't always have to chase it. He moves away, finds one elsewhere, and he still does his job on that entry. Perez, for anybody watching, maybe not too familiar with these teams, maybe tuning in, our regular EU viewers, NA viewers. Players to watch out for, particularly on the side of Black Dragons, Perez is definitely one of them. Had a big day yesterday, plenty of kills, high impact player, always one to keep an eye on. On the side, the Fenix, obviously, there's a few knocking about. There's been a couple of different changes. For me, Toski is interesting, definitely one to watch out for, and Pixie as well on that Jaeger on the defense, so keep an eye on those guys. But heading into round 2 then, we're going to see an alternative site. Oh, I've just missed the sites as we were loading in. It's going to be down in basement if my eyes don't deceive me, which I've watched far too many hours of Oregon and Siege Fresh. Just depending where those arrows are pointing, I know where the site is.
Yeah, and it's great from Fenix just to jump straight off the site, go to the laundry supply, because they're set up on kids and doms. It clearly wasn't right. BD was able to get exactly the map control they needed with no fight whatsoever. There was a plant effectively going down in a 5v4. Which you're not expecting as a defender. There needs to be lives lost, there needs to be time lost. So when a plant's going down that quickly with man count up, you need to change site and you need to rethink how you want to defend that site when you go back there. So I'm liking this from Fenix to go down to laundry supply.
Going to be looking to get themselves into T3 to begin with. Could be an interesting couple of shots there from Pixie. I only just highlighted him to keep an eye on, and he manages to pepper Perez through that flooring as he comes in on the rappel, taking nearly half damage, the Maverick there, and of course onto basement fresh. Maverick going to be an important operator here. They do have the Hibana as well as an option on Baseto, but you certainly don't want to be losing those options too early in the round.
And that's the thing, especially when you've got 2 breachers, is if you lose one, the other becomes so much more important. So if you'd have lost the Maverick, it puts so much more pressure on the Nibana. Maverick, of course, doesn't just bring breaching, brings the nades as well, which is especially going to be important because we see the defenders occupying those power positions. We see pillar control, we see Shaco control, we see blue control. You need grenades to get rid of the people out of those positions.
Okay, we're going to have the Twitch just doing a little bit of work down those laundry stairs with the drone. And I like what I'm seeing from Black Dragons here. We have a bit of mounting pressure from multiple sides. We've got them stacking up inside of the blue bunker, so there's going to be a push there. We've got Perez making a nuisance of himself on the rear stage. And then we've got the consideration from Twitch just looking Patoxy to head down those laundry stairs potentially. And it's something that can draw real success here on a basement attack, is that sort of multiple avenues of pressure coming in now. Perez, he knows that he's being watched from pillar here, and he knows that there's a man to his left. Can he do something about it is the question. Out goes the nade. It will do some damage onto Toski, but doesn't manage to find the kill. And Toski, he manages to lick back with one of his own and finds a shot onto Ion and a second onto Baseto. It's a big play from that man, and that's now going to leave us in a 3 versus 2. All to do for Black Dragons here in the final 30 seconds as Perez goes hunting, but shut down on pillars. It's that man Pixie once again. 3 versus 1. Fenix fighting back, and they're about to make a game of things on Oregon. They're going to level things up here almost certainly, as Toxie just seeking the angles, but he just can't find anybody at this point, and Fenix getting a little bit more passive, overexposing themselves there. But with 9 seconds left to go, it's unlikely that this round is going to slip away from them. They're just going to dip back now. They're just going to absorb that pressure, and as he pushed, they never had to move. There was one just in Shaiko spot, 1 pillars, and as you say, pretty much rooted to the spot throughout the round, and they were able to use those super powerful angles that they were just holding on to. So heading back up to the top 4, it's going to be Dorms this time around, and I think Fenix, if nothing else, they need to be paying plenty of attention to that double window and the potential for that rush plant that we saw last time around. It's unlikely, I think, that Black Dragons try the same thing again, because they know that Fenix are likely going to be looking out for it, but certainly something they need to keep one eye on, I think.
It looks like the same attack's going to come out again, and Morph's just running around. He's shooting drones in and around dining, which is important because it will slow Black Dragons down. The adaptation that I want to see from Fenix is actually to play somebody in the security, play somebody freezer stairs, try and aggress on the kitchen dining area to make sure Black Dragons can't have it completely for free, because when you give them it for free, you saw what happened in the last round. So that kind of counter aggression needs to come back out of Fenix to really hold the ground that they want to stay in the ground that they want to hold on to, or be forced out of it.
Perez there just looking alert on his spawn in, making sure that he's not going to get peeked. The window was open. I'm not sure if that had come from him or whether it was maybe a little bit of early, I won't call it aggression from the defenders because nobody was stood on the window, but it's always interesting to see those windows opened up and just give the attackers something to think about, let them know that they're potentially going to see some early pressure. Now, Perez pushing across that bottom floor once again. I think he's sort of banking on the man over in rear stage that they saw last time around. There's one down in freezer though. I think he's aware the push is going to come from the Aussie here. They both seem to be aware of each other here, Fresh. There's a little bit of a standoff that we've got once again between Toski and Perez. Toski takes the first steps, and Perez, this time he does not miss. Fresh finds that kill, takes down a Nitro, takes down the Aussie, and gives Black Dragons the advantage once again on a top floor attack.
This is such smart play from Perez, by the way, because his team are going for that west clear again. He's anticipated that somebody might play freezer stairs. As soon as Toski was droned out, he tried rotating laundry. Who's there? Perez is just waiting for him. A lovely opening engagement, and especially on these west clears, Perez is kind of a free element because you don't need to breach anything at all. You just need to take control underneath, clear the people out playing the kids' dorms, and then go for the plant by the big window or by the bed stack as you saw in the previous round.
So pressure is mounting over on that side of the map once again. Ion looking to maybe get himself up the white stairs here and just really cut that site in half. Pabby's going to find himself down but not out at the moment, but unlikely that there's going to be an opportunity. You can just see his silhouette there. He's a little bit in no man's land. He will be picked up by Bassetto, but there's an immediate trade from Pixie, and then Patoxy manages to get one for himself as well, just keeping that pressure on, keeping the foot on the gas for Black Dragons here on the top floor side. Morphed, he just needs to hold the trigger down there, and he maybe gets a second, but it wasn't to be. He turns away at the worst possible moment. Perez able to get the shots into the back. Patoxy with a second on the round, and that's Black Dragons closing things out in dorms, and that feels a little bit unfortunate for Fenix there. There was a couple of moments. Black Dragons played well, but Fenix, they just had some really bad timing then.
And I think it comes down to the adaptation of knowing the strat, knowing exactly what BD were going to do. What I wanted to see coming out there was the hold of kitchen with the reinforcement on the kitchen single wall and the rotate to security, and really present a solid defensive front and say, if you want this space, come and attack us. Because if they don't clear that space, they can't go up white stairs, which is obviously what we saw coming out at the end of that round. It was a nice try at an adaptation, but it wasn't a full adaptation coming out of Fenix, and that's what I wanted to see from them.
So we're going to be heading in towards round number 3 then. Black Dragons once again with a very slim, the slimmest, in fact, of advantages on the scoreline here. They're 2-1 up after the first 3 rounds. They've looked good on that dorms attack, looked a little bit lost on the basement attack, but this time we're going to see things mixed up. Fenix are going to be taking the defense down to dining room and kitchen this time around. Interestingly, they've got the frost on board as well, Fresh. So a couple of traps going to be placed, at least one upstairs. We've got the deployable shield, which suggests we're going to have somebody playing in that. I'm going to call it a Leon Gids spot. He got a 3K out of the window, which was very memorable. So we're going to have somebody playing up there, I would imagine. That's always a fascinating sort of area of contention for me on this.
You're offending one of the early purveyors of that spot, Ace, there, because I believe there was a certain chaos that was one of the first teams, I believe possibly one of the first teams to run a full small tower hold with all that investment and the frost, but we'll skip over that bit. But
triple kill on the Nitro though.
The triple kill on the Nitro.
That's the sort of flashy play that's going to get stuff, you know, that gets remembered.
Yeah, I understand that. What worries me about Fenix is they're trying to hold on to small tower and kid storms and the site itself, which means there are gaps because you can't physically hold on to all of it with all utility and all manpower. So it's up to BD here to identify those gaps and then hit the gaps that they see have the most weakness. It looks like they're going to go for a top floor take to try and take control of kid storms, play vertically above site, and then go for a plant presumably in the kitchen site.
So we can see Hyon, he's up there ready to push potentially in towards that dorms. He's going to need a little bit of support as well, and he's just very aware of this top floor. He sees the man, sees the Aruna, cannot find the shots, and that's just going to be Luxor able to keep himself fighting here, just playing it sort of cautiously on those stairs, just looking for the cover of the balustrade where he can, but it's Live who's going to open things up. Toski, I believe, was already low health there. He's going to be picked up with a nade, so that's a nice, I won't call it a free kill for Live, but it's at least a low risk kill if those nades are going in through windows or around corners. So Toski more than likely unable to challenge that one. So Black Dragons looking good so far. Got themselves a nice opener, 5 versus 4, full health across the board, and starting to move Fenix around as well, just forcing Luxor out of that top floor holding small tower. They can get in there and take control if they wish. They're heading quickly towards top floor control as well. There's only the Frost of Pabby that's remaining up there, so it's all starting to fall apart a little bit for Fenix on this hold.
It's just the time that Pabby needs to waste in there. If he can get a kill and get down with his life, he's more than done his job. Pixie's potentially looking for a rotate, but will know that Ion's holding him from the big window. So we've got a little game of cat and mouse coming out here, and it's all about who wins and who saves their lives. Pabby's got a very tight angle that the Maverick will peek into, but it will only be chip damage. Pixie's trying to rotate up to support him, but potentially he's also been held from big window. He knows that. He thinks better of it as Perez. He goes in, gets himself 2 kills.
Great play by Perez, just getting himself in there, taking the initiative. Patoxy finds Pixie as well. It's all up to Luxor, and it's almost certainly done at this point. On the Aruna, he can make himself a little rotate in through the attic, but I get a feeling from the silhouettes that Black Dragons are ready for this, and there's going to be somebody holding that angle. There it is. Man sees him, does he? I don't think he saw him.
I don't think he saw him,
It's going down. That is unfortunate for Live. Just not seeing Luxor. He must have just swung away at the very wrong moment there, but they know where he is. What a headshot from Luxor, though, as he moves around, being held at the top of White Stairs. But this is going to get more passive from Black Dragons now, as you can see, just holding angles. Luxor, he does make the pre-bombs.
Fenix tried to do both there, and that's why Black Dragons were able to take Attic Trophy with such ease, and realistically there was nothing anybody could do about it. Once they started their push through into the kids' dorms area to get the verticality, they were just able to refrag it out. I don't even think they got refrag ace. I think they just killed everybody. And that speaks to a lack of utility. And Fenix have kind of played 2 of the defensive sites naively. They did play this laundry basement site very well, and that's why I'm just not surprised to see them rotate back onto it.
Round number 5 then is going to see the rotation back down to laundry and basement for Fenix. Obviously had to play 2 rounds away because we are on a 2-round rotation. So once the defensive side wins in a site, they have to play elsewhere for at least 2 rounds before they can go back. So at the first opportunity, Fenix have gone back. It's the one site that they've won so far back in round 2. And it was pretty solid from them. As we said, Fresh, they were pretty comfortable down in the basement. They held their angles. They held on to important positions. But Black Dragons didn't really give them anything to think about, didn't give them anything to worry, didn't force them or pressure them out of those positions. So for me, I'm looking for Black Dragons on the attack here, just to take a little bit more sort of initiative, a little bit more onus of actually getting those defenders moved. For example, taking pillars control. It's so essential to getting into this site, and they didn't budge them last time. They got to do it this time.
BD, again, I've said they've read the defenses very well. I would expect them to bring the pace up on their attack here. As we see, Perez is going to put early pressure blue. I would expect that West clear is coming out much faster than it previously happened, to give themselves more time on the execute, to give themselves the time to actually nade out these positions and clear them with utility and the proper coordinated kind of drop of the hatch, push in blue, push down the stairs, that kind of coordination. And I think that's the adaptation. If BD do that and they do increase the pace, that they will do well. However, Morph has just got an opening kill on Patoxy, which is completely stumped them in their tracks there.
Sort of starting to go wrong already for Black Dragons here as they lose that opening man, and it just makes things more and more difficult. Again, Perez, last time we saw working those rear stage stairs to try and clear pillars, was unsuccessful. And I did raise the question, maybe using that electrical hatch, getting it opened as the Maverick, dumping the nades in through there, might have been a little bit more successful to move around players in and around that stairs and pillar area. We'll see what he chooses to do this time, but it's looking very rinse and repeat. He sat on those rear stage stairs, theirs, and it's a difficult angle to challenge. However, we do have Bozzetto moving through, and I believe the hatch is at least going to be opened into electrical. It's now just whether it gets used or not. The thing is, Fresh, there's no point opening these things up to not use them. You know, you're just putting a tick in a box at that point. You got to try and find some value out of them, and we've got the Sledge and the Maverick both moving towards it, so potentially going to see a little bit of pressure from there this time.
The problem with not going with being 4v5 is you're probably forced into the freezer laundry take, as we're seeing coming out here, because you just don't have enough people to cover enough of the angles. It's fine dropping the hatch, but you need the stairs player, you need the blue player to catch the Shaiko player, to catch the blue player. As we'll see, BD, they're going to go into a laundry freezer where they're probably all going to try and collapse and force a push through laundry quite late on in the round and just overwhelm the site.
I am just holding the angle through the peak hole there into laundry. Not going to catch anybody out at the minute. Fenix, they've drawn their battle line and they're all playing behind it. Bozzetto, he's going to find Pabby, and the aggression comes in from Perez, but it's going to be punished as he gets shut down. Pixie on the swing peak into Freezer, manages to find himself two, and that's an important play from the Jaeger there. Morphed is down in the process, but this leaves Bozzetto with it all to do. He has the diffuser in hand, but he's got 3 kills to find, and it's going to be difficult in the next 15 seconds. He does manage to get one, but challenged by Pixie
properly, absolutely perfectly. It's almost unrunnable. And laundry supply is the same on Oregon for the defenders. If the defenders play this site absolutely perfectly and give nothing away, it's almost unattackable. It is so hard to attack because of the time that you need to take and the amount of kind of space you need to take and how hard it is to take that space. Again, we saw another great defense coming out of Fenix there. They didn't want to move until they could get the kills. They weren't being forced out of positions with utility, and they were more than happy to just stay in those power positions.
So we're back up to dorms for the final defensive round for Fenix here. They've been unable so far to hold on to this top floor site. They played it in round 1, round 3, lost both of them to Black Dragons. Round 1 was a little bit of a rush planting through that double window. Round 3 was pretty much just picking them off all over the map. Now, Toski has been a little bit lacking of impact so far on this site. Like to see a little bit more from him, bringing the Valkyrie this time. It was the Malusi first time, it was the Mozzie second time, and just hasn't really found his niche so far on this dorm site, and has lost his life early in the round both times. We just need to see a little bit more from him.
Looks like we're going to see a lot of mute jammers and Mozzie pest over by the the west side, which I like this because they really want to try and deny the west side. It looks like the mute's got intention to play in and around the security in the kitchen area with there's a rotate open, and I don't know if the wall is reinforced or not, but there is a rotate open which will allow, it means extra droning, it means potential aggression onto that side. Although I say that, they've done the setup and then they've all just gone back up to site. So Perez has just managed to crouch walk his way into kitchen. It's almost like a false setup against this take. It looks like BD are just still going to be able to take the same take that they've wanted to do in the previous 2 times they've attacked this.
And we know how both of those have ended. Perez is going to be working towards. He's just seen that drone shot out, so he definitely knows that Morphed is playing up and around this area. You can see a drone going in very close ahead of him. The Nitro will come out from the Mozzie, but he's not going to manage to land any damage onto Perez. And for the time being, Perez doesn't want to get overly aggressive on this, but the problem is that the clock is working against him. Morphed can play in here. He can hold his angles and he can just sit and wait. He doesn't have a rotation back into the attic, so it does sort of cut him off from the rest of the defense, but it's just how much sort of presence Black Dragons want to use up by maintaining that man over there. What a nade from Live, just above the kitchen cupboards there. He's going to find the feet of Luxor underneath the floor. Perez manages to clear out Morphed on that second floor of the rear tower as well. And so that now leaves us in a 5 versus 3. And once again, Black Dragons just able to pick up exactly where Fenix are playing around the map, get in, make those challenges and win the fight.
West Clear, once again, we're being given an absolute masterclass 3 rounds in a row of how to do a West Clear and a big window take on Kid Storms. We do see Perez, he's going to go up here, he's going to find himself a kill and a second one. It's all on Pebby now, gets 1 kill, but they will come flooding in. He's got the shotgun in hand, but Bozzetto will win the round out. Another masterclass on that site, and it's 4-2 for BD at the half.
Great round from Perez there. I think it was 3 in the round. Just absolutely dominated things wherever he went. It was interesting, the fight with Morphed. You know, we saw him sort of playing it quite cautiously, and then 20 seconds later, bang, Morph's dead, and the kill has been gained. So I'm not exactly sure what Perez did in order to get himself the advantage in that fight, but he certainly found it somehow. And This was, again, another great nade round with Sin explosives used fantastically well by Black Dragons so far. And as I alluded to earlier, it's just sort of the risk-free element of it. You know, the nade that we saw from live underneath in Kitchen, there's absolutely no risk on the man there. The worst case scenario is that he misses the nade and burns a bit of utility. It's really not the end of the world. So great play from Black Dragons, using every tool available to them to get themselves the advantage here. They're going to find themselves 4-2 on the half, going on to the defense. This is not going to be easy for Fenix. They're going to be facing up to basement to begin with.
And that's exactly where you want to be if you're Black Dragons. You know, you're expecting, it's your map pick, you're expecting to go on the attack at the start, and you're thinking to yourselves, let's get 2 rounds, 3 if we're, you know, if we're playing well, we'll get 3 rounds and we can defend it out. 4, that's like Christmas has come early for them. They know this map, this is their map pick, and I would expect them to be able to win at least both of the primary sites. And therefore, once you've started winning those primary sites on the rotation, it's only a matter of time until you win the fixture.
Attackers are moving out.
We're going to have Ion looking to get some Valkyrie cams, potentially get one over the rear stage area, and he's going to be playing in and around there as well. I think we saw a great setup on this site from Fenix. They really did show us how to defend, and there's a couple of interesting defender picks as well, with Warden and Ella coming along, so quite a different setup here, Fresh.
Yeah, Warden is an off pick.
It's a pick. It's a pick.
I'll be honest. Like Perez, the way he's playing, the way he's just getting kills, he's not losing any of his gunfighters today. If you've got your Maverick hard breacher after attacking half saying, "I want to play a bit of Warden," and he's got 11 kills, you're saying yes. there's just no doubt about it. C4 can come in, you know, clutch. Ella, I kind of like it if there's Ella mines are placed in blue, and as people try to run in, obviously they're stunned and you can really aggress on that. Basetto, he wants to play a bit of style as well with the pistol in hand.
That's it, just bringing the technique along, but he's not going to do it for too long, I don't think. He's going to be switching back out, I would imagine, when the pressure starts to mount now. Pixie looking to take up that Perez position on rear stage stairs. It's not something that we saw Black Dragons manage to find any success from whatsoever, and Fenix were able repeatedly to just be able to sit in their positions and hold tight for the majority of the round. So will they learn from that, the way that they've benefited from it? Will they put a focus on getting these Black Dragons players moving around? At the minute, we're halfway into things and we haven't really had any pressure on that lower floor.
Yeah, there's no breach or anything, and Banner's still sat there with 18 pellets. I've finally seen 4 pellets leave, which means a hatch is being opened. It will be the laundry hatch. Throws another 2 on there for good measure. I'm not exactly sure why that happened, because 4 will only open the hatch, but, you know, why not? Banner only needs 12, right? And she's got 18, so it's not like it's a big deal. That means the meeting hatch is open. All hatches are now open, and we're looking into seeing which type of take is being formed. By the positioning, it looks like it's going to be a tower side take with the box and 1 guy poking down laundry stairs to try and shoot people in the back late round.
They have managed to push Black Dragons away from pillars to a degree, but we've still got Live in that Shaiko spot, and whilst he remains in place, it's allowing Patoxy on the Jaeger to just push forward and to prod and poke at pillars and just not allow any safe feeling for Fenix to start pushing in here, and time is ticking away. Fresh, the sand is dribbling through that hourglass, and there's the headshot to open things up, and who else but Perez on the Warden. He will be shut down on a trade from Toski, but 4 versus 4, Patoxy gets too aggressive there, and Toski's ready for it. Pixie backs him up. It's 4v2 now in favor of Fenix. Fabi's able to get in and start getting the diffuser down. He's not enough time as it all falls apart. It was a Toski and Pixie round, and they just showed how to attack onto basement.
These types of rounds remind me that Siege isn't a whole strategy game. Siege is an FPS, and you need to win your gunfights. That's exactly what Toski did. He didn't just get 1. He didn't just get 2. He got 3 kills on the round, forcing his way through Freezer, and it was a great take. I thought they'd ruined it when the first kill came out and the player had pushed Freezer early, and I thought, oh, the misalignment's a bit wrong here. Toxic, Pixie, they just turned up. They pulled it. Pixie from the Freezer, from the stairs. Toski from Freezer, really good pinch in the end, and absolutely just got the kills, got the round win.
I think they definitely needed it as well, because otherwise things were just starting to get a little bit out of hand for them. But they managed to keep themselves in touch. It's going to be 4-3 to Black Dragons now. Not a successful defense for them yet. They've only played one, so not the end of the world, but they need to find it somewhere. And that basement site is certainly one you would be expecting to pick up as the defenders. So they're going to move things up to the top floor. It's going to be Dorms this time around, a site that Fenix failed to hold on to 3 times over. So we'll see whether Black Dragons can have a little bit of a better command of things here, get on top of things and deal with things a little bit better than maybe Fenix did. I'm seeing a couple of differences in the lineup to maybe what we were seeing brought out by Fenix, so we'll see if they pay dividends.
The way the drones are set up is there's currently 2 in tower, so it looks like from Fenix's point of view, they're not going to go for a west clear. It looks like they're potentially going to go for attic, which is why we're seeing the Buck and the Maverick go over towards attic, and then a clear from the master bedroom side, which that's the kind of, it's the default clear for a lot of teams rather than the west clear. So there's 2 ways to attack. Obviously, we saw the west clear coming out of BDS, and we're seeing a slightly different attack coming out of Fenix. Both very valid methods of attack, and both have their different pros and cons, of course.
Luxor then has got himself established as the Buck on the rear stage stairs, just getting the drone set up so that his flank can be monitored. I think just going to check down the bottom of rear stage stairs, make sure there's not a roamer underneath, which is something that Fenix did try themselves a number of times, not really to much success. But looks like Toski on the Maverick is going to be joining Luxor in rear stage and in tower. He's going to go in as the Maverick and just open up that line into attic. So I would imagine, as you said, Fresh, we're not going to see the west side take. It's going to be a lot of focus onto attic and onto master bedroom.
Yeah, and I like this as well. If you think there's 2 new players, put them together and put your core 3 on the other side, so that you've got 3 people that are used to working together going for the master side, and the 2 newer players that might have a slight bit of desync going for the attic, which is less important in this take. It is still important, it would be nice to have, but you can just make a master bedroom take work on its own if you have to.
Morph not inside of the map yet, just watching for any rotations coming through main lobby. He's going to take his opportunity. He's going to miss his opportunity. We'll give him another go at it. There he goes, Fresh. He's got himself up there, hops across, and he's going to be up onto the balcony. He's just taking those long angles inside a site at the minute, trying to see if he can pick anybody up on any rotations. But Black Dragons, they're looking pretty comfortable on the defense at the minute, not being moved around too much, but there is time for Fenix to start building the pressure here.
They're more than happy to just sit and play the positions and play the time. The time is so crucial because it does become that 6th man that you always talk about on the defense. Crucially, there's also a Valkyrie with information, presumably, and a C4. If Fenix don't clear out the Zulu and kind of classroom area, that C4 could come in clutch late round.
Ion just, again, holding that angle from Kids Dorms. Just a long, long one through onto the breach, but he needs to be careful because he could get pressured, but what a headshot he manages to find onto Pabby, and that's going to put the diffuser down cold as well. Luxor manages to find one in return to level things up 4-4. Pixie collects the diffuser, so there's still an opportunity here for Fenix to think about getting in and getting that down, but 4 versus 4, 25 seconds left to go. They need to be finding themselves some kill. Live is holding the angle onto the trophy door here, where the diffuser's potentially going to come in, and we have a bit of a battle inside of attic, but it's the battle inside of Dorms as Live manages to find one alongside Ion and Perez. Black Dragons, they find themselves a successful defense. That's going to put them 5-3 and 1 step closer to taking Oregon.
I absolutely love the way Black Dragons are just reading, most of the time reading everything that Fenix want to do. They read that the Buck might come below, rotated out once tower control was taken. He was dealt with. They knew it was a master attic attack. So what happens when Toski pushes attic? There's 2 people there. He gets 1, but that refrag instantly comes out from Ion. And again, Live, he's just looking at the trophy door because he knows there's only one other place the attackers can be, and that's trophy door. Great round there from Black Dragons. Firmly back in control as we're seeing a Valkyrie 6 pick to a Kavira ace.
Well, I mean, it's interesting, Fresh. That's, you know, that's
not one I've seen in a while.
It's one word that we've got for it. We're going to have the Kavira brought along then. It's going to be important here for the drones to pick this operator up. Of course, Caveira should be easily dealt with. You know, if you're maybe a lower ranked player and you think, why don't they bring Caveira more? You know, she's great, she's quiet, she can hide away, she can get the interrogations. Caveira should be very easily dealt with by teams at this level. The first thing that is important in dealing with a Caveira is thorough drone work. So you need to know where she is and that she's even in existence, effectively, that she's been picked. It's a 6th pick here, so they won't assign her on the lineup. That's why she's run away to the top of T3, because drones can't get up there until they're thrown up there. So potentially it keeps her off the radar. Smart play by Ion, to be fair. But once you locate that Caveira, it should be easily dealt with. She's not great at ranged engagements, and you just basically want to push her from 2 directions at distance and just ensure that you've got her cornered and you find that kill. It should be as simple as that. Absolute worst case scenario is you're going to take a trade and she manages to find one. But there's no way she should be finding interrogations at this sort of level of play. But it all comes down to whether Fenix find her.
Perez, he'll find an opening kill onto Pappy, and if anything, that's going to mean less droning, less forward work by the attack. And you talk about finding the Cav, and it's liberties taken with droning. The Buck got the drone into T2 quite quickly, but the Cav was already in T3. So the Buck has probably checked that T2 drone, assumed that it's completely clear because nobody's passed it. Cav's already there past it before you've even got the drone there. However, what we're going to see is Pabby doing a lot of very quick and very thorough drone work. If you're kind of new to droning, look how quickly he was spinning around, checking 360, checking every corner of the map. That's what you want to see out of a good droner to make sure that no missed drones occur.
So we sit with bated breath, fresh. We wait for the moment.
We want the interrogation, don't we?
Ion is going to pounce.
Oh, here we go.
The thing is, even if they don't know that there's a Caveira, even if they don't know where she is, I think they've got an idea here, because what should be happening, correct me if I'm wrong, Fenix should be aware that they've got a missing operator. They should be aware by now that we've only seen 4 people here. We've got, we know where the 4 are downstairs. We've got somebody missing. So they should be worried about that. If they've drawn out the rest of the map, it should then tell them T3 is a real possibility.
The potential with it is you can't necessarily drone outside.
Oh dear.
Oh, here we go. He's on the drone. The time to go is now, Ion. Please go. Please get that interrogation. He's still on the drone. The sledge comes off the drone, gets down and finished off. Another, maybe not another. Shotgun will kill the sledge. And now they do know there's a Cav. The impact comes out. Ion is 1 HP. Now just needs to waste a whole lot more time. And that's the round winner most likely. Look at Pabby's attention. It's chasing the Caveira around the map. The Caveira's left. Toski's holding a rotate up. And realistically, they just need to let go and let Ion be, because they're now in a 3v5 and they need to hit site within the next 40 seconds.
Absolutely. That was great play from Ion. He's going to be challenging again. There's no stopping him. Shut down as I say that. 35 seconds though left to go. He's wasted 2 minutes 30 in the round and got himself a kill as well. Super smart play from Ion there, just taking that opportunity to finish off the down sledge. Knew that his days were numbered at that point, so I'm going to get myself out of there as well. It was really well played. Now Perez, he's going to hold that long angle for the time being. He knows one's pushing to freezer, and what an absolute beauty. It's just free for him all day long as the match.
By any means, but it was absolutely possibly the most disruptive thing they could have done, especially when the Cav gets that injure and you're thinking, oh my goodness, there's an interrogation on. She doesn't, she gets killed, she rotates through, she causes a whole lot of havoc and wastes a whole lot of time, which means 10 seconds left for that execute. You just got to look at two doorways, you get the kills. Really nice round coming out of Black Dragons there.
And the thing is, it just goes to show how different the timing can be as well. Like we were sort of calling for Ion to push onto the sledge that was on drones, but Hibana was only a couple of seconds behind there. If he goes in there, thinks he's got a free interrogation, maybe that ends very differently, where Hibana picks the kill up, manages to then resuscitate sledge, and it's all very, very different. So it worked out nicely for Ion in the end. So we're going to have what could potentially be our last round on Oregon here as Black Dragons. They take another defense. It's going to be dining room and kitchen, as they have won dorms and laundry in the last 2 rounds. So this is their third choice site. See whether they can hold on to it. It's not something that we saw Fenix able to do. They tried in round 4, but Black Dragons were able to get the win there. And we had said at the time, Fenix just spread themselves a little bit too broadly. They were sort of trying multiple holds realistically, and it just gave Black Dragons the opportunity to pick them apart. So we'll see if Black Dragons are a little bit more focused here.
And we'll see straight away they're not going for that small tower hold that Fenix went for. They're just going for a kind of reinforcing the utility in site and presumably above site in kids and dorms. So it's all on Fenix to determine which attack they want to do and how they want to take it. Given there's no investment in small tower, it might be wise to take from that side. Although it looks like the attackers are just swarming, looking for the right opportunity to take, and then deciding where they want to go from there.
Going to be some aggression moving into Armory. Then Pixie on the Iana trying to find some entry kills. Knows that there's going to be players in a setup on the top floor, but will have work to do yet to get in there. Going to push through Trophy eventually and look to take those challenges, but it's likely that the defenders are sort of deep inside of dorms and deep inside of kids' dorms. They're not going to give anything away too easily here, so it's going to be a tough one for the Iana. But Pabby, interestingly, has got himself established inside a meeting there, and on the Havana, that's going to be an opportunity to get that wall open through into kitchen, and that could be it could be an interesting one because it's really going to force those defenders to move around and rotate inside a site. They've still got the vertical above kitchen for the time being, so it won't be the end of the world, but it certainly will be fascinating in terms of the rest of the round if he can get this open. But there's utility to be cleared, and here comes the Maverick to do just that.
Maverick will eventually shoot out the mute jammer, and it's not a take that we see often, Ace, in terms of a meeting take. The big issue with this take, if you don't control kids, is that the defenders can play vertically right above the breach and right above that default plant spot behind the box there that you might try to go through the breach. We will see Pabby get one onto Live, as Live gets one onto Toxie. Instant refrag, and Ion, you see him above the vertical holes there. He's got the breach and the green door on lock.
You just feel like Black Dragons have got this here fresh, if I'm honest. They've got themselves the man advantage. They're 4 versus 3. They've still got the vertical pressure. There's one outside for Fenix on the rappel, but not inside of the map. It's going to be very, very difficult from here. We see Papi Luxor just dropping off the rappel there, but Baseto manages to find Pixie. We've got Perez taking shots through onto Luxor as well. It is not going to be easy. Luxor shut down by Baseto. It's 1 versus 4 now. Surely this is the end. It will be, as Black Dragons managed to take map number 1 of Oregon against Fenix, and it is 1 step towards that final for the Black Dragons.
More or less absolutely clinical from Black Dragons. They knew exactly which attack, which defense they wanted to do, the win conditions, and what most importantly,